Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Before this video gets any further, make sure to like and subscribe, and here we go. Breaking news from Easter Road. Hibernian announced that Lee Johnstone has departed Easter Road this morning, and it was after a run of terrible defeats and sitting rock bottom at the league with 0 points next to our team name, and basically conceding 20 goals so far this season, and we're only 3 games in. It was coming and you knew it was going to happen, but it turns out he was actually sacked well before the Livingston game was a thing. Lee Johnstone got sacked as soon as he went in the dressing room after the 5-0 hammering off the Aston Villa, because Ben Kenzo and that were in the changing rooms waiting on him. Because I got this for an insider, by the way. They celebrated, and Lee Johnstone just left, done his interview, and then drove off on Wednesday night. But Hibs fans will be thinking, how the hell was he? Now, even I was, because I was like, I found out, and then I was like, well, why the hell was he still there? And that's why it was McAllister guiding the team on Saturday, not Lee Johnstone. That's why Lee Johnstone was sitting on the bench. So, and it was actually a Hibs player that I know that told me. Martin Boyle, thank you for the info. It was Martin Boyle that passed the info on that Lee Johnstone was sacked on the Wednesday night after the 5-0 thumping, but Ben Kenzo and that were saying that he was told just to do interviews as normal and keep it hush hush what happened. That's what happened. That's how I found the info out, because there's a Hibs supporter that comes into where I work basically that also gave me more of the bigger picture of when Lee Johnstone was sacked. And basically that's when he was sacked, and I was confused how that would work out, but Ben Kenzo and that were saying do pod interviews and all that as normal, but keep it hush hush. So that's why he was sitting down in the dugout, because he wasn't really a manager technically. Well, he was, but you know, and he was trying to get another chance, but all that was fake. So all the posts, if you look at the dates when it was saying begging bosses not to sack him and give him more time, that was on the Wednesday night, right? The Wednesday night before he got sacked. Now this was at half time against the Aston Villa game when that post came out. So it all added up. And then as soon as full time came, he came in, you know, this and that. And he basically got told by Ben Kenzo and Ron Gordon's son, you're finished, that's it, but just this and that. And I found this info out for Martin Boyle, but because he was there when it happened, obviously. So you're like, but that wasn't the only Hibs player that I found out for. I found out for like a bunch of others, basically. And basically that's when you knew that you were like, right, so this has happened, and this is like, you're like, so why did they announce it on Sunday that he was sacked when he was actually sacked on Wednesday night? So what's actually happened? But according to, because this has been a busy day trying to find out what the hell's happened here, but the person that comes into my work, my bakers, to like basically tell me more info about it, because obviously she could see me celebrating because I had found out the news that Lee Johnstone had been sacked. There was a bigger picture to it. because back in Andorra, away, him and Joe Neill were like that to each other, and David Gray had to step in between them. And it was the Andorra away where fans were shouting and bawling, and Lee Johnstone was trying to calm the Hibs fans down because of an embarrassing defeat to a pub team, you know what I mean? And basically, Joe Neill was really raging at him, like he was really raging. And basically, I feel for Joe Neill. He's a good player. He should be captain. I agree with that. But what we're talking about here is we're looking at a bigger picture here where we're thinking, right, it was announced that he was sacked today, not Wednesday, when it actually was the day that he actually got sacked. But he was allowed to see it out till after the Livy game and see what happens. And then that's when I think, I don't know if anybody's seen the interview on Sky where he kept trying to walk away in that, when the lady was trying to interview him and that, and about him getting sacked and stuff like that, and if he was feeling the pressure and a bunch of other stuff. And basically, that was the interview where you seen him looking sideways like that. Lee Johnstone makes an awkward exit for the interview, and that's when you knew, right, why is it being kept quiet for 4 days until we find out that he was sacked actually, when he was actually sacked 4 days ago? Now, to all the Hibs fans that did actually target the dugout where Lee Johnstone was, I get their frustrations. I was the same, but I just left it. I was just like, I'm not getting involved with that. Then when the fans were getting angry and the stewards just surrounded them, that's just showing what the hell's going on there. So yeah, we've had a run of bad defeats. We get it. It's been terrible. It's been a bad season so far. We've only had 4 wins, which was against 2 teams in the Europa Conference League, Wraith Rovers, and basically we had a good pre-season apart from getting beat by Blackpool, but we've not been, well, and we got bet for Bournemouth, but then I thought, right, we're in for a good season. We've brought a good set of players in. 7k on Dylan Vente, 7k on this Harbottle, Ellie Johan on a permanent, which hasn't really worked out yet. Wolfish hasn't worked out. Obita, Alex Boric, Jojo, and the list just keeps going to all the new players. I'm disappointed that he's let McIntyre go out on loan. I'm actually angry that he gave... His biggest mistake as manager was giving Hanlon captain. Bad choice, because captain does not work in defence. It works more better if it's out in midfield. Now, the person that I was talking to that comes into my work and visits me when I'm, because a Hibby has autism, the same as me, was saying that Joe Neill is our new John McGinn. But in my opinion, I can agree with that, I can capitalise on that, but Lee Johnstone has humiliated our club badly this time, and fans calling for his head. And yesterday was the first time, and my dad says this, was the first time that I heard the East Stand calling for his head. Basically, Lee Johnstone get to fuck, Lee Johnstone get to fuck. So constantly it's a sign saying, right, if fans are calling for your head and threatening to nearly kill you, then it's time to say bye and time to go. Now, he's gone, it's happened. Where do we go? What do we say to ourselves? Who comes in next? Considering I'll have to consider that'll be a next long shot of a talk as well. Where do we go for a sacking a manager? Because as my dad's friend said, That's the 24th manager in the space of however many years Hibs have sacked and let go. I'll leave it there, guys. I'll leave it there. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.